So we're going to start off by looking at topic 7a. This is one of the first topics you're going to look at in year 7, and it's called cells. We want to start off this topic by looking at different types of cells. And actually, we have lots of different uses for the word cell. We talk about cells, as in a battery. We talk about our cell phones or mobile phones. And we also talk about glial cells. But actually, in biology, when we talk about a cell, we are referring to the basic building block of all life on Earth. And that means that anything that's living or an organism is actually made up of something called a cell. And that's what we want to look at in this presentation. We're going to have a look at what cells look like, what do plant cells look like, what do animal cells look like, and we're also going to look at some of the differences between animal cells and plant cells. Now, we're going to start off and we'll start with animal cells. You can see that animal cells look like a fried egg a little bit, and that's often how we draw it. Now, we start off by drawing this line around the outside of the animal cell, and that is going to be the cell membrane, and we'll have a little look later on at what that cell membrane does. We also then have all of this light blue colour in the middle, and that's going to be our cytoplasm. We have a large circle within the middle. That is called our nucleus. We have smaller dots throughout our cytoplasm. You can see here these little brown dots. Those are called ribosomes. And then lastly, we have something that's really important to a cell, which is called a mitochondrion. If we say mitochondrion, as you can see here, that refers to one of them. You might sometimes hear people referring to mitochondria with an A at the end of it. That just means plural, or that there's many of them. So that's what our basic animal cell will look like. Now, if we have a look at a plant cell, it looks a little bit different. So you can see a plant cell here is more square-like in its shape. Again, you can see it has a cell membrane. So this is one of the similarities between a plant cell and an animal cell. The cell membrane here is this inner orange layer. But one of the differences, you can see that it has another thicker green layer on the outside. And that's actually going to be a cell wall, and I'll show you that in the next slide. Other similarities though, it still has a nucleus. So this large blue circle is going to be its nucleus. It still has these little dots within the cytoplasm called ribosomes. It still has the jelly-like substance, which is the light green section in the middle. That is our cytoplasm, and it will also have mitochondria as well. So all of these are similarities within plant cells and animal cells. Now, animal cells and plant cells also have some differences. And you can see here that one of the differences is it has this large section in the middle. It has these other green circular structures, and it also, as we said before, has this thick green outer layer. What these are called, the main one of the main differences is the cell wall. And the cell wall is that green outer layer. And it's really important for a plant cell because it allows the plant cell to protect and support itself. The circular green structures within the cytoplasm, these are called chloroplasts, and they contain something called chlorophyll. And chlorophyll is a chemical inside the chloroplast which helps trap the light energy from the sun, and it's used in a reaction called photosynthesis. And photosynthesis only happens in plant cells because, as we saw before, animal cells do not contain chloroplasts. The last main difference within plant and animal cells is a vacuole. And that vacuole is this large bubble structure in the middle of the plant cell. Again, animal cells do not have this, and it contains any of the cell sap within the cell. Now, in terms of what these structures are for, we talked about the nucleus. The nucleus is the part of the cell which controls it, and it also contains any of the genetic information, which is often DNA within an animal cell. We also had our cell membrane. The cell membrane is extremely important. It's going to control what enters and leaves the cell. Our cytoplasm is that jelly-like structure within the cells in both plant and animal cells, and it's where most of the cell's reactions and activities happen. And then lastly, the mitochondrion is a really, really important structure within both plant and animal cells. And that's where something called respiration happens. And respiration is a reaction that allows the cells to release energy in order for those cells to live.